Good evening. Mass frustration among commuters. GO train service has been significantly impacted on multiple lines after a train derailed while leaving Union Station.
The issue was first reported just after 8 this morning, causing issues across the entire network, with Metrolinx saying the delays could last into the evening hours. CTV's Mike Walker has been following the delays and joins us live with more. Mike.
Well, Nathan and Michelle, trains are running, but there are still significant delays for the evening commute. As you can see, people are standing here in the concourse at Union Station, keeping a watchful eye on the board for when they can go to the platform to board their train home. On the board, you can see there are several delays as well as cancellations. Now, this all because of a train derailment earlier this morning. I want to show you some video captured by the CTV News chopper. The derailment happened just after 8 this morning when a train on the Kitchener GO line departing Union Station encountered an issue, according to Metrolinx, which resulted in the rear car being derailed. Metrolinx says the train was traveling at a low speed when it made contact with a track switch, resulting in signal issues and reducing the number of tracks that can be used. I spoke with one passenger who was on that train when it partially derailed. Here's more from him.
It's one big shake, and then all of a sudden it's like rocking back and forth, kind of like those wooden train cars at Canada's Wonderland. And everybody's just kind of looking around, looking at each other, kind of like there's this feeling of, should we be panicking? The train car is now elevated. It's like very clearly there's something under one side. It's been tilted to the side.
Now, he says no one appeared to be injured on the car he was in that partially derailed. This has resulted in significant delays and some cancellations all day. The Up Express was temporarily suspended earlier today. Service on all GO train lines are impacted, and it's being felt at stations right across the network. Long waits at many stations, including Kennedy GO station this afternoon, where you can see GO trains are running, but again, significant delays. As a result of this, the TTC says it's ramping up service on several bus routes, as well as increasing subway service on Line 1. Here's more from impacted transit riders.
All the shelters here are full because there's 2 hours worth of people just standing around waiting for a train that we keep being told will come, and it hasn't come yet. So it's been cold, and I'm impatiently waiting. Yeah. I do feel bad for the TTC guys because I know it's not their fault, but it is very frustrating that a train that only comes once an hour at best is delayed by 2 hours.
A lot of people didn't want to be there, you know. Everybody was like wondering why we stopped. Like, they didn't give any info about it or anything.
We don't have an indication from GO just yet. We are prepared to do this, as long as they need us. It could be into tomorrow. I don't know that. I don't speak for GO, as you know. But certainly if they need us tomorrow, we'll be ready as well.
We are live back inside Union Station, where you can see there are cancellations and delays on the board. That's where stranded transit riders are carefully watching to find out when they can board their train to go home. We've heard from some travelers that the delays have been over an hour. In the meantime, Metrolinx says crews are working to remove the derailed train from the tracks. And the latest update we have on service in terms of improvements on both Lakeshore lines as well as the Kitchener line, GO trains are running every 30 minutes. Reporting live inside Union Station, I'm Mike Walker. Nathan, back to you.
Thank you, Mike. Mayor Olivia Chow put forward her proposed budget for 2026, but already there's skepticism. It includes the lowest property tax increase since she took the reins.
She says the spending plan is focused on affordability, but critics say the budget will still have Torontonians paying later. CTV's Natalie Johnson joins us live tonight from City Hall with more on the budget. Natalie.
Well, Michelle, Mayor Olivia Chow is standing by the staff suggested 2.2% residential property tax hike, but critics allege that she is setting up the city for an even bigger increase once the election is over.
Loading up packages of produce at the Ontario Food Terminal, where the city buys in bulk for the student nutrition programs funded in this year's budget.
No child in this city should have to learn on an empty stomach.
Mayor Olivia Chow unveiled her version of the 2026 spending plan today.
Very proud of it.
New in the mayor's budget, an additional 5% tax break for small businesses and money to help seniors stay in their homes. In a spending plan that also boasts a TTC fare freeze, expanded library hours, energy-saving incentives for homeowners, and more.
We can and we will build an affordable, caring, and safe Toronto.
All while maintaining an inflationary 2.2% property tax hike.
This is a pre-election budget. Mayor Chow is trying to buy Torontonians' votes. She is hoping that people will forget about the record-breaking tax increases she's thrust upon the city over the past 2 years.
The mayor's budget launch certainly felt like a campaign-style event, the document itself reading like a campaign platform at the beginning of this election year, but Chow was stopping short of confirming whether she will run again.
Will you be a candidate for the election, or yes or no?
I don't know. What I am focusing on is delivering an affordable and caring, safer city.
Voters see through that.
Councillor Brad Bradford, who has said he will run for mayor, accusing Chow of raiding the reserves on the eve of an election.
We have never, ever in the city's history had a raid on the reserve account to the tune of $500 million, $512 million. So the context matters, the proportion matters. And Mayor Chow is just kicking this financial can down the road to next year on the other side of the election.
I hear that from people that are actually running for election. That's what they're talking about. That's not what I'm focusing on. That is the, all that language about raiding this and that, which is not true.
Torontonians, meanwhile, taking in all the tax talk.
Bills have to be paid somehow.
I'm happy with 2%, even although we should be paying more.
To me, I think it should be lower, but 2.2% is fair.
Chow now set to sell her spending plan to taxpayers and voters, hoping to take her budget to the bank.
That 2.2% property tax hike and all the other spending contained in this budget still needs to be approved by full council. It goes for a debate and a vote next Tuesday. Reporting live at City Hall, I'm Natalie Johnson. Michelle, over to you.
Thank you, Natalie. Still to come on CTV News, cyclists in the city are expressing concern about the time it's taken to clear bike lanes. We'll have more on the calls for action a little later in the newscast.
It's happened 4 times now. Shots fired at the same home in Vaughan.
The information we had is that a dark-colored SUV had attended the scene, and a male suspect wearing a dark hoodie had fired multiple rounds at a residence. This vehicle was then seen fleeing eastbound on Queen Philomena Boulevard. Now, at the time, the residence was occupied, but fortunately there were no injuries that have been reported. It's obviously very concerning for the people in the neighborhood, as this is the 4th time since September that this residence has been targeted. Even more concerning is since the time of the last shooting here, new people have moved in.
The shooting happened around 8:30 at a home on Allison Ann Way near Major Mackenzie and Bathurst. Vaughan Mayor Stephen Del Duca offered his thoughts on the shootings.
I know that neighborhood really, really well. First, to the residents who live in the immediate area, we know how frustrating and how scary this can be. We are doing everything we can at the city, working closely with York Regional Police to make sure that this stops happening, not only in your neighborhood, though I understand how tough it can be in this moment, but in neighborhoods right across the city. I'm really frustrated. We've been waiting now for many weeks for new legislation before the House of Commons to be passed. I urge every member of Parliament serving in Ottawa to work as hard as they can, as quickly as they can, to get tougher bail and criminal justice legislation passed through the House of Commons as soon as possible.
Police are asking anyone with information to come forward.
7 men from Toronto have been charged in connection with a deadly home invasion in Mississauga in 2024. Police say 4 masked men entered a home near Central Parkway and Confederation Parkway in the early morning hours on October 1st of 2024. They confronted the occupants and demanded money. One of the homeowners, 55-year-old Raja Way, was shot and later died of his injuries. 7 men are facing charges, including 3 for second-degree murder. Meanwhile, Durham Regional Police are investigating after a person was found without vital signs outside a home in Oshawa. The person was found outside a residence near Harmony Road North and Coldstream Drive. Durham Police have not provided any details about this person or any updates on their condition at this point. However, the owner of the home near where the person was found says they do not know the individual.
Peel police are investigating a suspected arson at a business in Mississauga. Police were called to the business at Matheson Boulevard and Creek Bank Road near Dixie and the 401 overnight for reports of a fire. No injuries were reported. So far, police have not released any information on possible suspects. They're appealing for anyone with information to come forward.
A woman in her 20s is fighting for her life in hospital following a crash in Brampton. This happened on Kennedy Road, north of Queen Street, just before 1 a.m. Two vehicles collided in the area, with one also smashing into an electrical pole. The victim was taken to a local trauma center. The cause of this crash is still under investigation. Pre-trial motions in the sexual assault trial for one of Canada's richest men happened behind closed doors today.
Frank Stronach preparing to face some of the allegations leveled against him by several women. CTV John Woodward has been following the case and joins us live from outside the University Avenue courthouse. John.
Nathan, Frank Stronach just stepped out of the courthouse about an hour ago. The 93-year-old is just days away from a sexual assault trial, looking at events stretching back almost 50 years. A relaxed Frank Stronach walked out of Toronto Superior Court Monday, exchanging words with the media.
How are you?
The billionaire's affable demeanor didn't impress Jane Boone, who was just a 19-year-old intern at Magna International in the 1980s when she last saw Stronach, the company's leader.
It was very odd seeing him shuffling by. He was such a dynamic and forceful presence when I was a student. He was the star of Magna, and now he's a little old man.
She claimed in a recently filed lawsuit that Stronach took her to dinner and then had sex with her, allegations the billionaire and his company deny. She's not among the complainants in this first set of criminal charges to be heard at Toronto Superior Court, but hopes to support them in a trial of one of Canada's richest men who, one complainant told CTV News, used his power and leadership position to find women for sex.
He wasn't my employer anymore. He was my abductor. He was my rapist.
The allegations from 13 women relate to incidents as far back as 1977, before the current definition of sexual assault was made law. The courtroom closed Monday as lawyers wrangled over pretrial motions in what will be a trial by judge, which observers say could be a strategic move.
Cases like this that are in the media, there's a lot of public perceptions as it relates to the Me Too movement, as it relates to wealthy men who in the past are alleged to have committed criminal offenses. Part of the calculus may be that with a judge who's trained in the law will be followed.
Boone hoping the justice system is fair to the complainants.
My own experience was pretty awful, so I'm hopeful that it won't be too upsetting for them.
Stronach's lawyers have said he plans to fight the allegations when the trial begins. As for Magna International, they started their own investigation into what may have happened on company property back in 2024. So we asked them today for an update. They told us they have nothing new to report. Reporting live from 361 University, I'm John Woodward. Nathan, back to you.
Thank you, John. We have more news in a moment, but first, here's a look at the city right now live. Expect a cool down tonight, but not deep freeze territory as we stay near seasonal, which feels much more manageable than what we've had over the past several days. Lindsay Morrison is here with a look at the current conditions. Lindsay.
Yeah, Nathan, it's funny how suddenly seasonal or near seasonal feels like a vacation compared to all that cold weather we had last week. We're also at this hour tracking a few flurries. They've been impacting areas near Lake Huron as well as Georgian Bay and into the Windsor area, but dissipating somewhat as they make their way closer to us here in the GTA. But it's a possibility tonight that we will see scattered flurries out there. We've had a southwest breeze today, fairly light in nature. Temperature-wise, we're currently at -6 degrees. It does feel more like -10, in case that factors into what you wear as you head out the door this evening. Here's your evening and overnight at a glance. -9 is what we're forecasting for a low. Still a bit of a wind chill. It's going to feel like -14 as we are waking up tomorrow morning. But overall, these first few days of February are looking pretty calm and quiet. Things do change as we inch closer to next weekend. We'll take a full look at your weather forecast coming up. But for now, Nathan, I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. It's been more than a week since Toronto was hit with that record-setting snowstorm.
While many roads have been cleared, cyclists say they are still unable to access a number of the city's bike lanes. CTV's Rahim Ladani reports.
Matt Park is shoveling this bike lane in front of Burdock on Bloor Street. But Park doesn't work for the city. He owns the business.
I bike to work still, and I like to use the bike lanes, and it's hard biking right now.
As Park takes matters into his own hands, other cyclists are being forced to steer through pedestrians on the sidewalk and share the road with vehicles, including first responders. Cycling advocates worry there will be a spike in collisions the longer bike lanes are covered with snow.
You've got all these young men who are working, delivering food by bike to people in Toronto, frankly, who would rather stay home. Maybe I shouldn't drive to get the pizza today, I'll order it. We ought to think about their safety too.
Since last Monday, the city says 311 has received 350 service requests for bike lane winter maintenance. That represents 2% of all winter maintenance requests. The city says some of the bike lanes were cleared but have been recovered due to road plowers. Mayor Olivia Chow is singling out Bloor Street as one area that still needs to be addressed.
There is a plan, and the city staff assure me they are focusing on it.
In the meantime, local businesses like Bike Depot are suffering.
It's been very slow, like very quiet, not the same level of foot traffic we're used to that kind of like generates most of our daily business.
And until those lanes are cleared, cyclists say the city's winter plan is still stuck in the snow. Rahim Ladani, CTV News.
A nuclear refurbishment at the Darlington power plant has been completed, and the unit will soon return to service.
Ontario needs about 65% more power, so we're going to be investing in large-scale nuclear. That is our priority. A plan to expand Bruce up to 4,600 megawatts power for 4.6 million homes. And in just east here in Port Hope, OPG has a plan to build the world's largest nuclear generator up to 10,000 megawatts power for 10 million homes.
Ontario Energy Minister Stephen Lecce says the refurbishment was finished 4 months ahead of schedule and $150 million under budget. The project extends the station's operating life to at least the year 2055. The province is also refurbishing units at the Pickering nuclear plant to extend its lifespan. Parents at an East End school are pushing back after the co-chair of the school's council says 8 teachers were suspended in a single day.
The council says the school's principal, vice principal, and 2 other teachers were also recently fired. CTV's Beth McDonnell reports.
It's so demoralizing.
Jen Engels is the school council co-chair at Bowmore Road Junior and Senior School near Woodbine and Gerrard. She says her child is one of about 300 students in grades 7 and 8 who've recently seen their teachers either fired or suspended.
An incredible lack of accountability, of transparency, of meaningful communication from the board. I have felt over and over again that they have just tried to sneak something past us.
Engels says the problem started early in the school year when the shared teaching model in place for 20 plus years abruptly ended. Teachers had taught certain courses and students rotated. Under the new model, teachers had to cover a wider range of subjects. She says this put extracurricular activities on hold because teachers had to brush up on topics. Then, on January 14th, Engels says there was a, quote, unsatisfactory meeting with parents about ongoing and increasing issues around violence and bullying. She says in the days that followed, the principal and 2 teachers were let go. Then, on January 29th, she says the vice principal was let go and 8 teachers were suspended.
I have no issue with these teachers. I think these teachers were caught up in this change management fiasco. We want our teachers back, all of them back. We want change in leadership at the superintendent level. I think even if we get a new principal, new administration, I don't think anyone has any trust that it's not potentially going to be more of the same.
In a statement, the TDSB says, we are committed to ensuring that all of our schools are safe places to learn and work. We are actively working to address parents' concerns, including bringing in additional supports to the school. With regard to questions about staff changes, we are very limited in what we can share about personnel matters for both privacy and legal reasons. CTV obtained TDSB letters sent to families explaining teachers are away and will be returning between February 4th and 10th, with occasional teachers filling in. The reason or reasons for the teachers' absences were not stated.
It's just really worrying because we just want to make sure our children are safe, and that's the most important thing to us.
I just don't know what to do right now. It seems like every time something's brought up, some more actions are taken by the school board that we're not aware of, and things change.
Expect to hear more backlash about the problems at Bowmore. Elementary Teachers of Ontario is holding a rally tomorrow afternoon at TDSB headquarters, and families are holding a rally here outside Bowmore on Wednesday. Beth McDonnell, CTV News.
There's been another setback for the Northern Ontario community of Kashechewan. Most residents have already left after problems with the water treatment system, and now there are plans to evacuate medical staff. CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver has the details.
The several hundred people remaining in the fly-in community of Kashechewan may soon be without medical care. The medical staff are pulling out soon, a month after a state of emergency was called in the Northern Ontario community of about 2,300 people.
Once the confirmation of the cryptosporidium was in the water supply, Health Canada, I think, and their health teams decided that they have to remove their nurses out of the community. The paramedics will follow.
Indigenous Services Canada says the community's nurses are expected to depart today, but that orange air will be on standby if needed. The residents who are choosing not to evacuate will have to drive about an hour away to Fort Albany Hospital for care.
Roughly 370 people are still there. We're starting to make plans to get these individuals or these families out of the community.
Evacuations began last month when a state of emergency was called after the community's water treatment system failed, sending sewage into people's homes and contaminating freshwater systems. Late last week, tests confirmed the parasite cryptosporidium was found in the community's water system, the same parasite that made more than 60 people sick.
It doesn't take much of this infection to ingest to actually get us sick. And the primary syndrome of this infection is a gastrointestinal syndrome.
This latest incident comes after the community found E. coli in their water in 2005. And while engineers are looking at solutions, so far there is no timeline for when the water will be safe enough for the community to return. And even then, Wesley says trust in the water has eroded.
It is going to take some time, a lot of time for people to regain that trust.
Indigenous Services Canada says there are plans for alternative access to health care, including virtual care for residents. The department says the nurses will start returning to Kashechewan when the community members do as well. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Ottawa.
Out east, another winter storm is hitting areas of Atlantic Canada, the third in as many weeks. Environment Canada expects the nor'easter to bring strong winds and up to 50 centimeters of snow in some parts of eastern Newfoundland by tomorrow morning. Much of the rest of the province is forecast to get about half of that, as well as high winds. Most of Nova Scotia is under winter storm warnings, and upwards of 25 centimeters of snow could fall there as well.
In Ottawa, the Conservatives introduced a motion to fast-track the government's legislation to increase the GST credit for lower-income Canadians.
We certainly want to see it go to committee as early as tomorrow with the finance minister, who again promised in 2023 that he would stabilize prices, testify at that committee, and see it back in the House on Wednesday so we can provide real relief expeditiously for families. Now, if you work here, you know that that's lightning speed.
On my side, I can tell you, and caucus, no, I'm willing, and I'm saying that on live television, I'm willing to appear at committee this afternoon if they so want, to make sure that we would progress that and meet the immediate timeline. I have yet to hear. I know that there are discussions being held to make sure that this will happen.
The Conservatives supported the measure despite calling it a Band-Aid solution. The bill to help people deal with high grocery prices passed without opposition. It still needs to be voted on in the Senate. Today, the Parliamentary Budget Office said it expects the increase to cost Ottawa an estimated $12.4 billion over 6 years. That's slightly higher than the government's initial estimate.
A Toronto MP is resigning his seat in the House of Commons after accepting a diplomatic appointment. Bill Blair has been chosen to be Canada's next High Commissioner to the United Kingdom. The representative for Scarborough Southwest will succeed Ralph Goodale, who is concluding his London posting. Blair's seat is the second in Toronto to be vacated this year following Chrystia Freeland's resignation. The Prime Minister is also appointing his national security advisor, Nathalie Drouin, as Canada's ambassador to France and Monaco, succeeding Stéphane Zion.
In Rome, tourists visiting the famous Trevi Fountain will have to spend more than just a coin they toss over their shoulder. The city imposed a $2.35 fee to get close to the fountain during prime-time daylight hours. The new measure is intended to decrease overcrowding of the area, stem petty crime, and protect the fountain. But the view for those admiring the late Baroque masterpiece from the piazza above remains free.
Still to come, it's Groundhog Day. Is an early spring on the way, or are we in for 6 more weeks of winter? Well, it depends who you ask. That's still ahead.
And I'm Pat Foran. Coming up on Consumer Alert, with all this cold weather, many people are booking trips to sunny destinations. If you're traveling with children, make sure you have the proper paperwork. Grandparents planning to fly with their grandkids were turned back at Pearson Airport. I'll have that story. That's just ahead.
Well, January is now behind us. I know it felt like a very long month. There was no shortage of wintry weather, but I don't think anything was more significant than the amount of snow we got. Nearly 90 centimeters, making it the snowiest January in Toronto's history. And now here comes February. I'll look at what you can expect as far as new norms. And as we make our way through this week, we're already eyeing the next possible round of snow and a very cold weekend ahead. Details are coming up, and stay with us. We've got another full night of great shows for you right here on CTV.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Many families are planning trips to get a break from all the cold weather, and many are expected to fly south during the March break.
If you're traveling with grandchildren or nieces and nephews, you need the proper documents, or you might not be allowed on the plane. Here's Pat Foran and Consumer Alert. Pat.
Thanks, Nathan and Michelle. Grandparents were traveling to Jamaica for a wedding and decided to take their grandchildren with them. But when they got to the airport, they didn't have the proper documents, and they were turned back and not allowed to fly.
It was very sad, you know.
Avita Gordon of Brampton was going to Jamaica with her husband for a wedding. They decided to travel with their grandchildren as Gordon's daughter had flown ahead as she was in the wedding party. But when they were boarding the plane, there was a problem.
I asked for a letter for the grandkids to show that, you know, I have permission to travel with the grandkids. I said I don't have one.
Gordon was told without documents showing the children were allowed to fly with her, they could not board the flight. All four of them ended up not getting on the plane.
I wanted to give the grandchildren a trip with myself, you know, and I didn't get on the flight. It hurts, you know, so much money down the drain.
The couple had to buy new airline tickets the next day, and the grandchildren had to stay home with relatives. This happened in December of 2024, but the Gordons had been seeking a refund from Air Transat, which was denied. A spokesperson for the airline told CTV News the children were traveling with their grandparents without a parental authorization letter, which is a mandatory requirement when minors travel without their parents or legal guardians. This rule exists to protect minors and prevent child abduction.
It is heartbreaking because it's something that I think people just don't think about when they're booking that trip and when they're making their way to the airport because they're just excited to be going, right?
Travel expert Jennifer Weatherhead says it's important to have the proper documents when traveling with a minor or you will be denied boarding.
You need their passport, birth certificate, parental consent, and that letter should be notarized to make sure that it is okay. You need to have proof of your relationship to the child as well, and then any kind of custody documentation.
You'll find travel information on the federal government's website and how to write a consent letter. Gordon wanted to warn other grandparents what happened to them.
If anybody's traveling with young kids, I advise them, make sure you get a letter of permission to take the grandchildren or whoever you're taking with you.
And if you're traveling for the first time with grandchildren or any child you're not the parent of, you may want to use the services of a travel agent. They'll know the documents that are required and can save you problems when you get to the airports. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
Well, still no real relief from the cold, but hey, we're into the month of February now, and I know what a really good sign, at least for me, is Groundhog Day. We're talking about that rodent who's talking about spring. It'll be here before we know it, right?
Right, and it almost seems like maybe it is true. Maybe it's going to be an early spring because we're near seasonal, which seems like a good sign.
And we've had a whole lot of winter. Doesn't it feel like we've had a season's worth of winter already? And Groundhog Day often marks kind of the midway point in the season. So how's it looking? What did Wyerton Willie have to say this morning? Well, take a look.
It's an early spring.
Well, how about that? Whether or not you believe Willie or not, Willie is predicting that spring is going to come early this year, which I think is welcome news to so many people. The Wiarton Willie Festival has been ongoing for 70-plus years. It's always such a celebratory time. I will say it was a little sunny today in Wiarton. I'm a little surprised Willie did not see the shadow, but hey, there was a little bit of disagreement depending on which part of Canada or even the U.S. you were joining us from today. So here's a look at Wiarton Willie. The prediction is early spring. Meanwhile, in Alberta, here's Balzac Billy, who says 6 more weeks of winter. It hasn't been too bad of a winter in Alberta this year, so perhaps that's why. Punxsutawney Phil says 6 more weeks of winter. And interestingly enough, Shubenacadie Sam couldn't really do the duties today because of so much snow that was falling this morning, but as a result is by default predicting early spring. So let's see what happens. Not exactly feeling like spring today, but certainly an improvement compared to last week here in southern Ontario. Not nearly as cold. It is -6 degrees right now with a wind chill of -10, and the wind chill not so bad in northern parts of Ontario either. Seasonal norm is -2 degrees. It's been that way for a little while, and tomorrow we're actually going to experience a temperature pretty close to that, or at least we expect to. -9 is our forecast low for tonight. Wind chill -14, so it's going to feel still into the minus teens as you're waking up tomorrow morning. Keep that in mind. By the afternoon, though, daytime high near -3. I think many of us will take that. Mix of sun and cloud, likely more cloud tomorrow than we had today. And we do have the chance of some scattered flurries. In fact, we're seeing them in some parts of southern, southwestern Ontario at this hour. But they've been pretty disorganized as they inch closer toward us here in the GTA. So possibility of flurries for tonight and really just over the next couple of days. Not amounting to a whole lot, though, for us here in the GTA. Let me show you the forecast radar just so you can see. Doesn't really appear to be a direct hit for us. Again, it's the more traditional snow belts that are likely to see a little bit of accumulation. We're pretty calm and quiet over the next couple of days here. And again, nothing really accumulating around Toronto. Owen Sound, you might pick up 7 centimeters over the next couple of days, though, and perhaps 2 in places like Orillia, Huntsville, and Bancroft. 7-day forecast looks like this. Wednesday's nice and quiet, mix of sun and cloud and -5. -4 on Thursday with some cloud cover, but Thursday night and into Friday, looks like it's our next round of snow. It's still a little early to determine how much. It looks light at this point. And then look at the temperature drop. Friday, daytime high +1, falling to -19 degrees at night. And then it looks like it's going to be a pretty chilly first full weekend of February. So enjoy this break from the cold while we have it. That's your look at the weather. The Princess Margaret Cancer Foundation Spring Home Lottery is back with today's launch featuring over 15,000 prizes valued at more than $14 million, including the $8.5 million grand prize Thornhill Show Home, built by Seagull Homes, fully furnished, designed, and landscaped, and $500,000 cash. There's the $2.6 million early bird lakefront Halliburton Cottage, plus $50,000 cash, the $1.7 million bonus prize package, a luxury Toronto condo, and $50,000 cash. Plus, there's the VIP prize, Porsche in Paris, or take $100,000 cash. Don't forget either the 50/50 cash calendar and Wanderlust add-ons. Every ticket gives you a chance to win life-changing prizes and helps fund life-saving cancer research. Get yours today at princessmargaretlotto.com or by calling 1-866-631-1234. Nathan, I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Also tonight, a Toronto professor is bringing home some big-time hardware to Humber Polytechnic. Justin Gray won a Grammy, the first Canadian to ever win in the immersive audio album category. His reaction in just a few minutes. A Vaughan family's in a race against time to find a cure for their son's extremely rare condition.
CTV's health reporter Pauline Chan has more on this situation facing little boy and his family.
Whoa! How did you do that? Whoa! He has an infectious laugh and is doing very well with his current routine of various therapies. But Lucas Azevedo's family fears the mutation in his RBM28 gene may rob the 2-year-old of his chance at a full and healthy life.
We've known about it since November of 2025. There is no official name for it or diagnosis for it.
It's kind of a rare mutation that he has.
Lucas's uncle, himself a neuroscientist, says so much about the boy's future is a mystery.
What it appears to do is be involved in the formation of the ribosome and the function of the ribosome. The ribosome is a cellular structure that converts genes into proteins.
Sophia says there is a boy in Mexico who appears to have the same mutation, but other than that, they don't know of any other cases. Their best hope is to develop a personalized gene therapy, and they've already found a clinic in the U.S. that's willing to do that, but the price tag is $1.7 million Canadian, and they need almost 300,000 Canadian just to begin the first stage. They've started a GoFundMe page and consulted with Terry Pirivolakis, who also fundraised to get his son, Michael, a gene therapy for his ultra-rare disease known as SPG50. They raised $4.5 million, and he says it's a very tough thing for families to face.
A disorder with under 5,000 patients in the U.S. is not commercially viable. So companies will not take those programs on, just like Michael's disorder. So the only way to move the needle and to save your child is to, unfortunately, do a clinical trial and raise millions of dollars.
We don't know exactly how it will affect his future. We only know, because there's so little known about this variant, that it's progressive. That's all we know so far.
Sophia says their cost is less for the gene therapy, but even with it, the future is unclear. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
What do Snoop Dogg, Olivia Rodrigo, Arkells, and the Tragically Hip all have in common? Well, all of these artists have collaborated with Toronto's Justin Gray.
Last night, the performer and Humber College professor won his first Grammy for his album, Immersed. CTV's Andrea Case has the story.
When Justin Gray received a Grammy nomination last November,
Best Immersive Audio Album,
he said it was the highlight of his life so far. That was then.
And the Grammy goes to Immersed.
At the 68th Annual Grammy Awards pre-show, Immersed became the first Canadian nomination in the category and the first win.
To Toronto, to Canada, we love you. Music is a gift that we all share, and can we maintain and just continue to uplift each other through this beautiful art form? Thank you.
I mean, it's just a feeling of gratitude. I had never been to the Grammys before, and the premiere ceremony, it is huge. Like, there are a lot of people in that room.
Gray is on the faculty at Humber Polytechnic, now teaching in the same course he once graduated from. He is passionate about imagining music in 3 dimensions and calls Immersed a pure love letter to the Toronto music community. He traveled the world with the album and accompanying film, but this was a new experience.
Once the category came on, I just was breathing deep, because, you know, you just kind of want to prepare yourself for whatever comes. And it was a little bit of a blur, but just so much gratitude, just a lot of joy.
Gray is a performer, composer, Juno-winning producer, and engineer. He brought 38 traditional Toronto musicians together to create a new sound. The immersive audio mixing and mastering brings the music to life, literally putting the audience in the middle, surrounded by the band.
It's also just an encouragement to just keep believing in the process, keep believing in the craft. It inspires me to feel that confidence to continue pushing forward, keep surrounding myself with the community that's been so amazing to work with thus far.
He won't have any trouble bringing the Grammy across the border back to Canada. Unlike the Academy Award, the one he was given is not the one he will keep.
Definitely the first person I handed it to. The one that we were holding that day was my co-producer, good friend, Drew Jureka, fellow Canadian, also making history here. And then Michael Romanowski, the mastering engineers. But then they take it back, and then at a certain point, it'll get mailed to me.
Andrea Case, CTV News.
You're watching CTV News, business and sports coming your way. Next, stay with us.
Precious metal stocks crashed last week. Many hoped they would rebound today. B&M Bloomberg's Marilla Fernandez has the details.
Gold and silver stocks dragged down the TSX over 1,000 points on Friday, and both struggle to gain ground today. Spot gold dropped another 2% after that 12% drop off on Friday. Spot silver dropped about 2% as well after plummeting more than 30% Friday. Investors had pushed both to record highs on concerns about the tariffs and turmoil with the U.S. building up its military presence in the Middle East. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is down to 73.14. West Texas Intermediate down over $3 to 62.14. Western Canadian Select down to 50.36. And the TSX gained 260 points today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
The Business Report is brought to you by Canadian Western Bank, the bank built for business.
The Toronto Maple Leafs are in Calgary tonight with both teams coming off wins that ended lengthy losing streaks.
Legs might be a little fresher. Austin Matthews scores.
Austin Matthews scored the shootout winner as the Leafs beat the Canucks Saturday. Tonight, Toronto continues its road trip against the Flames. The Leafs will be in Edmonton tomorrow for their last game before the Olympic break.
Canadian figure skaters Deanna Stellato-Dudek and Maxime Deschamps will not compete in the team event at the Winter Olympics. Stellato-Dudek was injured during training. Her condition will be monitored on a day-to-day basis to see if she can compete. But the 2024 World Champions have not yet withdrawn from the individual Paris event. Canadian champions Leah Pereira and Trent Michaud will compete in the Paris portion of the team event instead. Team competition starts Friday with the individual pairs short program scheduled for February 14th. Meantime, colored lights are being projected onto historic buildings, and light installations are decorating the streets as Milan gets ready for the Games. Almost 1.2 million tickets have been sold for the Olympics and Paralympics, and hockey tops the list. Players from the NHL will participate for the first time since 2014. Biathlon and cross-country skiing are the next highest sellers.
Just ahead, turning sales into support for the community. We pay a visit to a thrift shop doing a lot of good with fabulous finds and pre-loved items of all kinds.
Tonight, the battle to build Canada's next generation of submarines.
It's a big, big procurement. This is going to be a relationship with the winner for years, decades to come.
On board in South Korea with what's in the sales pitch. Later on CTV National News and watch on Crave.
Joe Carter's historic walk-off home run to win the 1993 World Series will be immortalized with a statue outside Rogers Centre. The Blue Jays made the announcement today with an online video.
It's not a partnership meeting.
Hey! This is a stick up.
It's not a partnership meeting.
Give me a I want 500 million.
So Carter goes into what he thinks is a business meeting with President Mark Shapiro and President Emeritus Paul Beeson. Instead, the two execs surprise him with news of the statue that will represent the first championship won in Canada. And it's also symbolic of the team that won back-to-back championships in 92 and 93. How could we forget?
A local thrift shop is supporting some of the city's most vulnerable residents.
Donated items are being handed out to those experiencing homelessness. CTV's Jessica Smith has the details.
Giving pre-loved items new life and helping those experiencing homelessness. That's the idea behind Eagle Feather Vintage in Toronto's East End.
It started just me 6 years ago selling my own vintage stuff because everyone wanted it, and I thought I'll just use all the money to buy stuff for people in the streets to keep them warm in the winter.
The personal project, started by Spencer Ogilvy, blossomed into a community initiative inspiring her vintage store.
And all the money gets to go right back into buying sleeping bags and hand warmers, jogging pants, sweaters, all that stuff.
Each item donated or funds from something purchased going directly to the Church of Holy Trinity to help as they serve the community.
The work that Spencer is doing is actually life-saving, and we're absolutely reliant on people's donations.
Located inside Boneyard Thrift, Ogilvy shares a space with Paper Bag Vintage and College Fund Thrift. The collective efforts allow her to operate at no cost.
Everyone is amazing, and College Fund Thrift also give Eagle Feather Vintage 10% of all of their profits.
Showing no effort is too small to make a difference. Community members can come down to Eagle Feather Vintage every Saturday between 12 and 4 to make a donation or to make a purchase, with 100% of those proceeds going back to help those most in need in our community. Jessica Smith, CTV News.
All right, back to the forecast. So there's some snow on the way?
Well, I wouldn't so much call it snow for tonight. It's mainly flurries, and of course the difference meaning that flurries aren't really going to accumulate or cause too much trouble for us this evening. But if you're venturing out or simply looking out your window, you might see a couple of flakes this evening. Here's where the snow is falling, where the flurries are flying right now. Around Collingwood, we're getting some light snow activity around the Strathroy area. You might be seeing a few flakes around Ancaster as well. Here's a look at what we can expect waking up tomorrow morning. The chance of flurries still going to be with us. Not quite as cold in the morning as it has been the last several mornings. As we know, that can often be the coldest point of the day, just right around sunrise. But tomorrow looks not bad. -9 degrees as most are waking up and venturing out the door, on our way to an afternoon high of -3. So a nice seasonal day, plus or minus -2 is the average temperature this time of year. And we will see varying amounts of sunshine over the next couple of days. It's pretty calm and quiet over the next couple here. A reminder, though, and perhaps an early heads up, that we're looking at some light snow Thursday night and into Friday, followed by a very cold weekend with the winds kicking in behind that light snowy system. Michelle and Nathan.
Again, okay, thank you, Lindsay. That's it for us, but be sure to join Omar Sachedina tonight at 11 for CTV National News, followed by Zoraida Allman, who has your next local newscast at 11:30.
In the meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and all of us here at CTV News, thanks for watching. Have a great night.